Hello everyone, welcome to PICPOQET. This is episode 2. That's such a great introduction, isn't it? And hopefully we're already excited about singing Zadok the Priest. We're all going to sing together Zadok the Priest at the end of this video, the first section. We're going to do a few warm-ups. And we're also going to get into the heart of why is that such a great introduction? Why does it work so well? Imagine that it wasn't Handel that had to write the coronation anthem for George II. It was Grabou or Eccles or Pepusch or one of the other court composers or masters of the king's music. Go up to the king and say, I've written this wonderful introduction for your coronation service. It goes like this. That's not bad, you know, that has a bit of excitement about it. But Handel manages to make it 20 times more exciting. And we're just going to discover how he did that. We're also going to do some singing. So this is not an online singing lesson, but let's do a quick warm-up together. Make a low sound to voo. Join me, otherwise it's just me. Voo. Make some high sounds to Fantastic. That's your warm-up. We'll now do some scales. Scale going up, please. To La. La, la, la. Scale coming down. To Mi. Lovely. We've done warm-up, we've done scales. Now, we do scales a lot, don't we, in choir? We do them as warm-ups, and a lot of music is constructed through scales. There's a sense of inevitability about them, isn't there? Years and years ago I heard a great joke about Mozart, being so incredibly musical. And the question was, how did Papa Mozart get little Wolfie out of bed when he was oversleeping as a child? He would just go to the clavichord and play. And little Wolfie would jump out of bed, run to the clavichord and play. That was just when he was 4. He'd just about reached the keys. What's for breakfast, Papa? He'd say. By the time he was 5, his dad just had to play. And little Wolfgang would wake up and run to the clavichord and play. By that time, you see, he could have the whole span of an octave in his tiny little hands. What's for breakfast, Papa? By the time he was 6, Leopold would play, time to get up, Wolfgang. And Wolfie would run out of bed, go to the clavichord and play. What's for breakfast, Papa? And do we have to do this European tour wearing this stupid wig? Anyway, the point is, we want to complete the scale, yeah? Because it kind of makes everything right with the world. Let's sing some scales. We'll make them a bit more interesting this time. Let's do that very same scale. Lovely C major. Sing to do, going up. Now, sing that again, please. While you sing the scale going up, I'll play the scale going down. Go. And now you sing the scale going down, and I'll play the scale going up. We call it contrary motion. And if any of you have done piano grade exams, you'll remember that kind of thing. So we can do this as a duet over the internet. When 2 or 3 of us are gathered together again, we can sing contrary motion scales, making harmony with each other. So back to the introduction to Zadok. If we just look at what my hands are doing here, I'm just going in contrary motion very slowly. It's a real kind of simplification of how that harmony progresses. And in fact, if I fill in harmony as we go, adding more notes, it gives it a wonderful sense of opening up, like that single white light that goes into the prism and then comes out in the colours of the rainbow. Now, the eagle-eared among you are already screaming into your screens and devices saying, I know, but those aren't the notes that Handel uses. You're right, he makes it even more interesting. One part is going up, the top part of the harmony. One part's going down, giving this opening out feeling. But he's not just going down the regular scale. He's already slightly changing the key we're in, which, 250 years later will be the essence of jazz and blues and blue notes. Apply it to Joy to the World, Handel. So we've got contrary motion, we've got a slightly different note of the scale, and now what else is happening? Instead of just pulling apart gradually, we're taking it in turns to move. If you see what I mean? Can I explain what I mean? So, not exactly, but more or less, that's the harmonic underpinning, the scaffolding of the harmony behind. So we kind of know something great is going to happen. Let's do a downward scale all together. We're all going to sing it. Nice low key. Your turn. Good. And this one is just going out to you second basses and third altos out there. Right down to that bottom D. Go. Yeah. Now, for most of us humans, that's a little bit low to sing, so I'm going to cut that scale in half and bounce up the octave. To explain, sing that everyone please, to La. So it's a downward scale, it just, repositions itself halfway through. Let's remember how Handel changes it, yeah? A groovier second note. Sing it to La. La, 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 la. So, I know that when we think about music, we often think about the tune, and melody is very important. But, sorry sopranos, it's not always about the top part, it's not always about the tune. In fact, it's all about that bass. In any Western classical music from 1600 to mostly present day, and of course all pop music as well, because pop music's harmony is absolutely taken from the 18th century standards. Fantastic. And so if you think about where the bass line's going, that's going to show us how this this scale pattern really works for Zadok the priest. You're going to sing the bass line. I don't mean the bass part of the vocal part of Zadok the priest. I mean the bass line of the orchestra, cellos, basses, bassoons, serpents, whatever was at hand. You don't need the music. Okay, you don't need to study this, because we're just going to work out how it goes. It's just that scale. But you're going to sing repeated notes until I say change. And when I say change, you just go to the next note down. I'll demonstrate. Change. Are you ready? Yeah. So all you're singing is do do do. The lyrics are do 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 do. Keep singing the note until I say change, and then just drop one down. Drop down, drop down. We're then going to bounce up the octave, remember, and then come down again. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Same note, yeah. Change. 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 Keep singing, keep singing, keep. Little rest, up the octave. Same note there. Change. 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 Keep going, keep going. Stop. We were so long there on the penultimate note of the scale, weren't we? Don't know whether we were counting them up. There was something like little gap, then and at that point, without your conscious mind realizing it, everything in your body and your spirit and your soul is crying out for the completion of that scale. It's delayed because we've been on this note for so long that's wanting to fall down here. But what happens next? Don't sing this bit. I'll just play it. I'll play the left hand in a very sort of unmusically, much louder than everything else way, like an organist would. So you can just hear how this scale goes down. Goes down there. Down. And down again. Now here it stays for a while. Whoa! Where did that note come from? Out of nowhere! Ba, 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 ba. It's just such a moment. So harmonically exciting. Completely unprepared. Where does that one go? What's its context? Well, you remember how Mozart got up in the morning? Yada-da-da-da-da-dum, bum. That's the leading note, note 7, of a different key. So once we go there, it has its own satisfaction. We then go down to, guess what? That needs to resolve up. And we're kind of on home territory. And that moment we've been waiting for finally comes, because it's been set up and then slightly diverted from, and then we've gone somewhere completely else. And, you know, the whole thing has turned from, you know, black and white into Technicolor. And this is just scratching the surface of how that introduction works and prepares us to sing Zadok the Priest, which you're going to sing. Now, a lot of people, a lot of you may know Zadok the Priest. It doesn't matter if you don't know Zadok the Priest. You don't need the music score. You just make it up. You know, just go for it. If you want to have the music score, that's fine. But, you know, it's not really an academic exercise study thing here. What I'd like you to do before we sing it is just speak Zadok the priest, in that rhythm. And actually speak it using your big outdoors actor voices. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zadok the priest. Those long notes can be divided into shorter notes. Yeah? Zadok the priest. Go. Zadok the priest. They can be divided again. Zadok the. We're now talking about quavers, or for any international viewers, eighth notes. Speak the quavers. 6, 7, 8. Zadok the priest. Can you say semi-quavers? Zadok the 1, 2, and ready, go. Zadok the priest. This is, you don't tell your singing teachers about that. This is getting into Dalek territory. But I'm just going to point out how long notes are just made up of lots of small notes together. And that's sometimes quite a good way of timing priest. So we finish that together. And when you come back to choir practice with me or with anyone else and you sing Zadok the priest, you know, the conductor will say, get that ending of priest together. But let's think about that. The ending of the word priest is st. That's two separate sounds, two separate sonic events. So as a practice, I'd like you to say the word preet for 2 beats. And we're going to get that t absolutely together on beat number 3. Preet. Ready? Go. Preet. Very good. Now say prees. No T, but the S is back in. 3, 4. Prees. So, when you do sing a 2-beat note on priest that is exactly timed, you need to know from your conductor, from your music director, is it the T that's on the beat or the S? It's not a right or wrong answer. They just give you a slightly different effect. Let's practice together. Let's say priest for 2 beats and put the S on the beat at the end. Priest. And now let's say priest for 2 beats with a T on the beat, which means the S is going to come in momentarily before the beat. Ready? And priest. Very different effect, yeah? So depending on where you're singing, the acoustic of the building, whether it's a small or big choir, you know, all sorts of reasons, you'd go for one or other of those. Now, when we sing Zadok the priest, which we are going to do in a minute, you're waiting for your chance to sing Zadok the priest, we have a big old note, don't we, when we come in, Zadok the priest. That's why we started off by using our actor voices, so we sing from there. Think about long notes being many short notes, one after the other. Like TV is still images, but they're moving so fast it looks like a moving image. And I say that sometimes with choirs just so we don't get into the habit, especially for a big long note, of coming straight in and going zai and just hitting it and then not doing anything. Because singing a note isn't a discrete event in history that happens once, that you could argue that playing a piano key is. You sing it and then you have to keep singing it while you're singing it, if you know what I mean. So if that was the note Zadok, you keep filling it with air. So rather than just thinking one long note that goes Zay, you think, I'm going to sing 64, 128, 256 very very fast notes, all of which are A, apart from the first one, which is Z. And it's to keep the sound alive. Okay, so you kind of sing through and keep singing, keep feeding it with air. And you know, it may, to start off, be more tiring because you're actually singing it more. But it just keeps the sound alive and stops this rather sort of two-dimensional sound. We'll try that when we're all meeting together in choir again. You remember last time we sang 5, 4, 3, 2, and we made up some tunes 5, 6, 5. You can go up and down the scale, choosing whether to go up or down at any time. Let's try it. I want you to sing Ma, go. Ma. Now I want you to make up a tune. You don't have to worry about numbers. This is just singing Ma most beautifully. And all you're going to do is go up or down by 1. So for example, or, so just, they're all parts of scales. All sing together. 1, 2, ready, go. Lovely. It all harmonises. So something we tried out actually with City Chorus in a workshop at the beginning of this year when we had a good sing through Zadok the Priest is not just to enjoy the introduction by listening to it, but just by joining in with it. And if you think about going up and down the scale, there's only 7 notes, right? Because note 8 is the same as note 1 in a different octave. Chords have 3 notes by definition. Quite often they have more than 3 notes in them, but simple chords have 3 notes in them. So if you're just moving by step up and down the scale and you're singing a note that's in a chord, and if the chord changes, then if you go up 1 or down 1, it's almost inevitable that you'll be on the right note. Sometimes all you have to do is keep singing the same note. So think about it the other way around. When the chord changes, keep singing the same note. If it doesn't fit, all you have to do is go down 1, or possibly up 1. Because there's 3 right answers out of 7. So you're bound to hit it on the note you are, or on the note next to where you are. So when we do Zadok the Priest, on the intro, why don't you sing along? And you don't need the music, and you don't need to know whether it's E minor going to A major second inversion. You just need to enjoy singing your note, and it could be that note or that note. And as the harmony changes, see what happens. Stick on your note. If it doesn't quite seem to fit with the harmony, just go up 1 or down 1. And it's up to you how you want to, whether you're in a mood for slow notes, then you just sing a long note, or you could if you're in the mood for some more rhythmic activity, you can go do 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 do, or do 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 do. Just like we divided our 1 note into 2, and then into 4 quarters, and then into 8 eighths, and then 16 sixteenths, which are semiquavers. That idea of splitting a long note into half values and then quarter values is used a lot in pop, isn't it? It kind of really builds up the lead to the return of the chorus or whatever. And we can do that. I will do that in Zadok when we get to that bit. Just before you come in with my left hand, glorious. We can sing Zadok the Priest. You decide whether the S or the T is on the beat. And Nathan the prophet anointed Solomon king. And that will be the end of today's rehearsal. Okay? So sing the intro. Enjoy how the scales go up and down. Sing long notes or short notes. Have fun. When you sing Zadok, it's not 1 big long note, it's 1,000,000 small notes, all of which are getting better and better as you sing, and as you sing, and as you sing more, as into the priest. And then we're going to enjoy the ending of that word. Here we go. So you can start there, or there, or there. Okay. And again. Bravo! Well sung. It's such a great piece, and it's going to be so exciting when we meet again and sing that in our choir or in whatever choir you're in, or even if we're just singing along with the record or with the piano. That's the end of episode 2. Thanks very much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, then please do. You can send me a message. Details will go up at the end of the video. If you've got any feedback, next time we're going to do a little bit of work on chromatics. Those interesting fellows. The joy of chromatics. Thank you very much to Arthur, my producer here. And just before we go, I've had another letter from Mrs. Trellis of North Wales Choral Society. Thought I'd better share it with you. It's actually a little gift in this one. Dear Mr. Jenkins, I'll read it. During these challenging times, many global supply chains have been interrupted, and it's very hard to source spare parts for electronic equipment, especially replacement buttons for computer keyboards that have worn down through excessive use. Please find the enclosed with my compliments to help you continue writing your lovely music. Oh. And there's a little control, a little C and a little V she's put in. Thank you very much, Mrs. Trellis, it's very kind. I'll forward this on. Last time our riddle was, how many altos does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is 10. 1 to change it, while the other 9 say, it's a bit high for me. For next time, could you answer the riddle, how many tenors does it take to change a light bulb?